Here's something you probably didn't see coming. One of the most high-tech luxury sedans of 2025 is here, and it didn't roll out of Germany or the US. Nope, the new BYD's Yangwang U7 is from China, and it might just rewrite the EV luxury playbook. The arrival. Why the U7 actually matters. For decades, when you thought luxury sedan, you thought of badges like BMW, Mercedes, and maybe Audi if you wanted to be a little contrarian. That was the whole league, Euro dominance with the occasional American wildcard. But here comes BYD with the Yangwang U7, a car that doesn't just join the conversation but entirely changes the tone. Now, BYD isn't some startup trying to fake prestige with a shiny badge. This is one of the fastest-growing automakers in the world, with roots deep in electric tech and batteries. The U7 is part of their Yangwang sub-brand. Think of it as BYD's flex move, their way of saying, yes, we can do premium too. And they didn't just slide in quietly. They parked the U7 right in the same price bracket as the BMW 7 Series and Mercedes S-Class, sitting between about $86,000 and $98,000. That's not budget luxury. That's a direct challenge. But here's the catch. You're not just paying for leather and chrome like you would in a traditional sedan. What BYD is pitching is a smart mobility experience, almost like a luxury car reimagined around technology instead of heritage. And the design language? Bold, futuristic, clean. Definitely not a copycat. This isn't China mimicking Europe. This is China doing its own thing. So why does the U7 matter? Because it signals a shift. Prestige is no longer locked up in Stuttgart or Munich. It's being rewritten, line by companies that see luxury as more about intelligence and innovation than nostalgia. And speaking of intelligence, let's start with the part of the U7 that literally reshapes how it moves. Body in motion, DIAS-Z, intelligent body control. Suspension talk doesn't usually get people hyped, but in the U7, it's one of the showpieces. BYD calls it the DIAS-Z Intelligent Body Control System. And it's not just a mouthful, it's a game changer. Think of it as suspension technology that doesn't just passively absorb bumps, but actively reshapes itself in real time. This system can lift, lower, tilt, and fine-tune the car's body based on road conditions and driving style. Hit a pothole? The car can rise up and glide over. Cruising on the highway, it hunkers down for stability. Taking a tight corner, the system adjusts roll and balance so you carve through with composure instead of leaning like a boat. And yes, if you've seen those viral clips of cars hopping like lowriders, that's DIAS-Z flexing. It's not just for show either. The ability to react that quickly means comfort when you want it, control when you need it, and a surreal sense that the car is reading the road before you do. Here's where it really shines. Adaptability. Luxury used to mean choosing between a plush ride and sporty handling. With this setup, you can have both, moment to moment, without compromise. It's almost like driving two different cars, seamlessly blended into one. But great suspension only matters if the car knows what it's reacting to. That's where BYD's God's Eye comes in. Yes, that's really what they call it. Seeing and predicting. God's Eye ADIS. Driver assistance systems are often sold as smart, but BYD's God's Eye ADIS actually earns the title. Instead of just lane keeping and adaptive cruise, this setup feels like it's playing chess while other cars are still figuring out checkers. Here's the deal. ADIS uses high-resolution cameras, radar, and AI working together. That means the car isn't just responding to what's happening right now, it's predicting what's about to happen. Merging traffic. It plans the lane change before you even touch the stalk, stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic. It handles the stop-and-go grind with calm, predictable movements that don't make you seasick. The system can recognize objects, adapt to sudden hazards, and in some conditions even handle semi-autonomous driving. No, it's not officially billed as Tesla's FSD rival or Mercedes' Drive Pilot competitor, but it's right in that league. and that's the real story. BYD isn't playing catch-up anymore. They're standing shoulder to shoulder with the big names. And here's why that matters. If you're dropping nearly $100,000 on a luxury sedan, you're not just buying horsepower, you're buying peace of mind. God's Eye makes driving less exhausting, safer, and frankly, more futuristic. Of course, brains need a body, and all this tech needs a foundation. That's where BYD's E4 platform and its clever dual powertrain strategy come into play. The foundation: E4 platform and powertrain strategy. The Yangwang U7 doesn't just sit on a platform, it sits on BYD's flagship E4, also known as Yangwang. And the way this platform is engineered explains a lot about why the car feels so different from its rivals. At its core, E4 is designed around three pillars: performance, efficiency, and safety. It's not a borrowed architecture from another car. It was built from the ground up to handle the kind of advanced features we've already talked about. That's why things like quad motor control and Dia-Z suspension don't feel like add-ons. They're baked into the DNA. Now here's where BYD plays it smart. The U7 comes in two flavors: fully electric and plug-in hybrid. That might sound old-fashioned in 2025, but it's actually a brilliant move. Not every buyer in this segment is ready to go all-electric, especially in regions where charging networks are patchy. Offering a PHEV alongside the EV means BYD casts a wider net without losing credibility. Structurally, the platform is stiff, optimized for battery placement, and safety-focused, essential in a market where luxury and trust are inseparable. It also allows flexibility. Today, it's a flagship sedan. Tomorrow, it could underpin something sportier or larger. And let's be real, what makes this interesting isn't just the specs. It's the fact that BYD is showing strategic maturity. They're not trying to force everyone into one powertrain ideology. They're giving you options while still keeping the car's essence intact. But the real heartbeat of the U7 isn't just the platform, it's what drives each wheel. And trust me, you'll want to hear about this part: the core, quad motor setup and driving reality. Here's where the Yangwang U7 goes from pretty interesting to, hold up, this is wild. Instead of one big motor driving the wheels, or even two like many EVs, BYD decided to go all in. 4 motors, one at each wheel. It's called a quad motor setup, and the easiest way to think of it is like giving each wheel its own personal trainer. Each motor can decide how much torque it wants to deliver, instantly, without waiting for some central system to split the difference. What does that mean in real life? For starters, acceleration that feels almost unfair. Each wheel can grip independently, so you're not wasting energy spinning out on slick pavement. On a rainy day, while other cars nervously feather the throttle, the U7 just hunkers down and launches like the road is bone dry. Then there's cornering. Traditional cars lean and hope physics is on their side. The U7? It actually uses torque vectoring to nudge the outer wheels, stabilizing your turn as if the laws of motion were negotiable. The magic really happens when you combine those motors with BYD's Dia-Z suspension and God's Eye ADIS. One is controlling body roll and ride height, the other is predicting what's about to happen on the road, and together with per-wheel torque, the car almost feels anticipatory. It's not just reacting, it's proactively shaping the way you move. Efficiency gets a boost too, because each motor is independent. Regenerative braking isn't just one size fits all. The system can decide exactly how much energy to reclaim from each wheel, making stop-and-go traffic surprisingly productive for your range. Picture this: you nail a sweeping mountain curve, the body leans just enough to keep it human, torque shifts subtly to the outer wheel, and you glide out the other side planted, calm, and oddly refreshed. It's not just driving, it's choreography. But as much as the quad motor setup defines how the U7 drives, luxury sedans aren't just about performance. Step inside, and you'll see how BYD is redefining what premium feels like in the cabin. Inner life, cabin tech, luxury, and user experience. Open the door and the Yangwang U7 doesn't just whisper luxury, it pretty much hosts a TED Talk on it. There are two main layouts here, the classic 5-seater if you want to keep things flexible, or the 4-seat executive lounge if you're the type who prefers being chauffeured while answering emails in the back. The executive version comes with reclining seats, massage functions, and dedicated screens that let you stream, zoom, or even run presentations mid-ride. The materials are exactly what you'd expect from something meant to stand shoulder to shoulder with a Mercedes S-Class. Plush leather, soft-touch finishes, and ambient lighting that you can tune from subtle and calming to nightclub in Shanghai. But unlike old-school luxury sedans that sometimes feel like leather-lined caves, the U7's design is minimalist, clean, and almost futuristic. It's a space that feels less about showing off wealth and more about creating a tech-rich environment you actually want to live in. Then there's the interface. Forget clunky menus. Here, you get voice commands, gesture inputs, seamless smartphone integration, and yes, even the possibility of an AR heads-up display. Imagine seeing your navigation hovering on the windshield like a video game overlay. It's practical and just a little bit sci-fi. And the AI assistant is more than a gimmick. It learns your habits, adjusts the climate automatically, saves your seat and music preferences, and can even suggest routes or remind you of appointments. The U7's cabin is less like sitting in a car and more like hanging out with a really polite butler who happens to know your Spotify playlist by heart. Noise? Practically non-existent. Between electric architecture and active noise cancellation, the cabin is so quiet you'll probably notice the faint hum of your thoughts before anything else. But here's the big question. Who's actually buying this? And what does it mean for the luxury market as a whole? The market impact. Who buys it and what comes next? Here's the fun part. Figuring out where the Yangwang U7 actually fits in the luxury landscape. Spoiler, it doesn't just blend in, it shakes things up. So, who's in the target audience? For one, tech-forward executives who like the idea of their car being as much an AI companion as a ride. The 4-seat executive version screams CEO on the move, while the 5-seat setup is perfect for families who want premium comfort but don't want to feel like they're in the back of a limo. Then there's the EV enthusiast crowd, the people who already think Teslas are cool but want something fresher, smarter, and honestly, less common. Price-wise, BYD positions the U7 right in the crosshairs of German luxury sedans, but with a tech package that often makes those cars look, let's just say, a little old school. For $86,000 to $98,000, you're getting quad motors, predictive ADAS, AI-driven interiors, and luxury detailing. That's a value play that could make established brands sweat, because BYD isn't undercutting. It's competing head-to-head. Of course, global dominance isn't guaranteed. Regulations, safety certifications, and after-sales service networks will dictate how fast BYD can expand beyond China. But the signal is loud and clear. Premium EVs from China aren't a niche experiment anymore. They're real contenders. The long-term ripple effect? Competitors will have to rethink what luxury means. It's not just stitched leather and a V8 anymore. It's intelligence, adaptability, and experiences that feel futuristic without being gimmicky. Software, AI, platform flexibility, those will be the new battlegrounds. What's next to watch? Real-world ADIS demos, acceleration benchmarks, international media drives, and whether BYD nails the rollout strategy outside of China. If they deliver, the premium sedan market doesn't just get crowded, it gets rewritten. All in all, if BYD executes the U7 right, luxury buyers worldwide might start checking their rearview mirrors and realizing it's a Yangwang gaining fast.